Hello everyone and welcome to another game of Warships. Today I'm in the Chumphon, a tier 7 Pan-Asian cruiser. I'm on the map estuary, and yeah, it's a 4-point domination game. It's a top tier game, so that's lovely. There aren't actually that many tier 7s, there are lots of tier 5s. But interesting enough, there isn't a single destroyer. Now I'm not alone here, I'm with a division, with Belfast in Atlanta. So yes, that's a pretty dirty division. We brought 2 smoke screens and 2 raiders. And yeah, we are top tier. But there aren't really any destroyers, so there is that. Now the Chumphon is a little bit like in Atlanta, although it's lacking quite a bit of DPM, it feels like, compared to the Atlanta. It does have some very interesting deep water torpedoes though, so it's a ship that's most definitely not just balanced around its guns, but around its torpedoes. If you don't get those torpedoes off, you are probably not gonna be having that great of a game. But hey, you have the smoke screen, and honestly, it's a reasonable ship to division with, I think. I mean, you have defensive fire, one of the most useless consumables there is. You have a torpedo reload booster that can come in handy in some clutch situations. But mostly you're just gonna smoke up, probably with somebody else inside your smoke screen. You're lazily pew-pewing with your guns and you hope to get some of your deep water torpedoes. Now, we've managed to take this camp. We also had a cruiser just YOLO in front of us, which was a shame. It was, what was it, the Königsberg? He could have just joined us in our smoke, technically. Or he could have just sat behind an island here conveniently and pew-pewed away, but he decided to just sink. Now my smoke's coming to an end, so we're needlessly transitioning to Vipers, and we'll just keep the pew-pew up here in this general region. Meanwhile, there seems to be a Graf Spee charging the B-cap. We have a König and a Königsberg there to greet it. Now the Königsberg has torpedoes, hydro. I mean the Graf Spee has 2. And then we have a battleship there. So you'd hope that they can deal with this Graf Spee, but I'm not holding my breath. Now, in an ideal world, just to sink the Graf Spee, then reinforce the D-cap, and then it's looking pretty decent on the other side. But we usually don't live in an ideal world. Now, we have a Gneiser now here, who is... Well, I mean, it's a top-tier brawling battleship, and he's in the front brawling, but he might have gone just a little bit too far, because there are a lot of enemies here, right? And he's facing the full brunt of the assault. Meanwhile, the Leo might have just been a little bit too passive. So, somewhere, those battleships would meet in between, possibly be a much better situation. Anyway, we do have an Italian also going rather aggressive against the Heinrich, which I'm not sure why. A Heinrich is most definitely not a ship you wanna get that close to. So we've just lost our Italian here. Meanwhile, in the center, the Graf Spee has taken out the Königsberg with torpedoes, so turns out our Königsberg's torpedoes and hydro combination did not quite work. So what's gonna happen now? Are they gonna kiss? Possibly. Yes, they do. So, well, look at the bright side. The Graf Spee didn't survive, even if none of us survived either. So as you can see, ship-wise, this is getting desperate. Now we come here to a certain problem. And our little smoke party here doesn't have a spotter anymore. Well, technically we have the Leo that's now coming forward. The thing is, I mean, the battleship is fully capable of spotting for us, but it's not like there are enemy destroyers that he has to be wary about. All he has to be is in a situation where he can see the enemy ships that are shooting. So we will see if that turns out. Now there is the Heinrich problem. If you're a Lyon, you definitely don't want to be charging a Heinrich, because you might end up torpedoed. The secondaries aren't the most scary thing at this tier yet, but still not something you necessarily want to chill in. So we'll see how this goes. Now, of course, with the firepower of our cruisers, we should be able to burn that thing down if we can actually see it. Now, as you can see, my division mates are using hydro at times to give us some vision that we don't otherwise have. So, I mean, at least we can give ourselves a little bit of vision there. You can also see by the damage I've done that, you know, Chumphon doesn't pump out the damage that much. And that even includes 1 torpedo here. So yeah, it's most definitely a ship that just needs its torpedoes if it wants to feel that impactful. But of course, you know, like just smoking up your division mates is going to help you in the end. So yeah, I still think that Chumphon is a fun ship, possibly in a division. I mean, you could argue then why not go Flint, but I mean, you have a bit more top range than a Flint. And you have more range than a Flint. Well, there goes the shores. So I have now decided that I'm gonna be our eyes here. I still have smokescreen charges left that I could use if I survive long enough, but right now it's Viper's turn to smoke anyway, basically. So I've decided, you know, I'm not bringing the most DPM here, and I do have torpedoes that are a dangerous weapon. We are all 3 squishy ships. I'm gonna go to the spotting. Now our Leo is sort of behind an island. I'm not sure how much he can see, how much spotting he would provide currently. I've decided that I'll take matters in my own hands here. And I'm, interestingly enough, still alive. Now, I'm hoping with getting this close, well, first of all, I still have this island here as some cover, but I could potentially torpedo the Cesare when he comes around here. If I'm destroyed, I have to be careful that, oh no, I don't have to torp. Well, that's good. Okay, so the Königsberg is on fire. Now I'm starting to get shot at by an archery. I'm hoping that the island towards my left will soon be cover against that. But this is not an ideal situation. Well, I mean, this whole game hasn't been an ideal situation. So the archery is a little bit too far away, but if he goes full speed towards me, maybe he'll run into those. So I'm soon going to be spotting an emerald. And I still have a smoke screen, but you know, if I smoke here, we'll lose vision, and I really want to sink that emerald. So once again, we'll see my DPM is not the best. Also, I'm getting a lot of non-pens, and I think I even have IFH here on this, but your penetration is just like really bad. But I'd have to check if I have IFH on this camp, but I think I did. But, you know, I can't even penetrate an emerald. Come on, emerald shot. Oh, well, down I go. But down goes the emerald as well.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
So, you know, I'm not necessarily the star of this show, because as you can see, while I got 4 kills, I didn't get the most amount of damage yet. But I still have 2 division mates alive, and they're gonna have to carry now. So we can see the Leo back there is not the most healthy. And I also apologize if the camera work here isn't the best, because, well, camera in replays is utterly shit. Now I can unlock the camera and try to move around at a snail's pace, but I'll have trouble changing the height and the angles. And it's like the camera is absolute shit. So, yeah, sorry about that. I'm currently sticking with the camera that I had during the actual battle, because, believe it or not, if I try to do this manually, I'm gonna end up with worse results. Anyway, so the enemy team, well, the remainder of the enemy team is almost full health, right? The archery, I think, is completely full health. The König is almost full health, and the Colorado should be too. Now, we do have some torpedoes left with our Atlanta. Now, Viper in the Belfast is gonna move somewhat aggressively forward, trying to farm the Algerie. He does have a smoke screen, but of course if he's too close, that smoke won't help. Meanwhile, you can see the Leo is finally coming our way. It would be nice to have the battleship a bit more up front, but hey, it's okay, we have an Atlanta tank. I mean, don't underestimate the YOLO land. Now you can see here the Algerie is eating some armor piercing there between Viper and Youth, and they are doing a very good job of farming this guy. So okay, they got the Algerie. So as you can see, Youth is not quite in torpedo range of the Colorado, but he's almost in the torpedo range of the current. Torpedo range on the Atlanta, I think, was 4.5, right? So it's like this König is barely inside it, but it's inside. So meanwhile, Youth is charging the Colorado. The torpedoes are still going, and let's have a look at that. See, the Koenig didn't actually move, and he was basically on the edge of the top bridge, but he stayed in it. If he would have moved a few hundred meters, that would not have happened. But there is a lovely torpedo hit there. And now what's left is the Colorado, and the Colorado just missed, which gives Youth the opportunity to turn his ship while the Colorado is reloading and get another set of torps off. Now the Colorado is the last remaining ship, but I mean technically he could still win, because he can easily sink our cruisers there. But instead he's gonna eat fish. That brings us to the results, and you know, I mean, our division here was doing relatively well, but Youth is the star of this show who showed us the power of YOLO Lanta. That was amusing. So in the end, you know, our division got 8 enemies, and we've got some of the new team achievements, like doing, 50% of the total enemy health pool, and I think at least 20% to 10 different ships and things like that. So yeah, our division was a bit dirty, but it was absolutely needed. So, you know, I don't think the Chumphon is the best ship out there, but it can be fun in a division, so there is that. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you next time.